wonderful. Braylon loves going there.
I used them 2 years ago. Their team approach to treatment was very unique. Really helped me.
Call 877-530-6356 today for a free screening. Comprehensive rehab, physical, occupational, and speech therapy for all ages.
Welcome to Moving Forward, sponsored by MPW Mocklink TV and Mocklink Internet, online at mpw.org. Each weekday morning, our local talk segment brings you the people who are helping move our community forward. Let's start the show.
Good morning, AM 860 and FM 95.1, KWPC. I'm Jordan Davis. Thanks for joining us here this morning for Moving Forward. As always, brought to you by Muscatine Power and Water. Experience the best value in entertainment and connectivity with Mocklink Internet and TV from MPNW. New subscribers save big on TV or internet, and even more when you take both. Learn more at mpw.org. I'm Jordan Davis. Thanks for joining us here for Moving Forward. In the studio with me this morning, Michelle Burns from the Muscatine County Conservation Board. How are you this morning, Michelle?
Good. It's good to be here.
Excellent. Well, we're really excited to have you in. As always, Michelle's a returning guest with us. She's in once a month to come and talk about all the things the Muscatine County Conservation Board's up to. And I'm sure you guys have probably had a pretty busy summer.
We have had a hugely busy, you can't really say hugely, a very, very busy summer, yes. We just finished our summer nature camps, so we're moving into some of our school-age, programs that'll be starting up here in September. And I'm very excited about that because it's one of my favorite times of the year because we get to do a lot of monarch programs, and the monarch butterfly is one of my favorite things to talk about. So I know we'll talk a little bit about that today, but I did want to just talk a little bit about some of the programs that we have coming up. And I think you and I have talked about this before. Our hunter education programs.
Yes.
They're coming up again this fall. So on the 25th of August and then also September 8th. And we do our hunter education programs kind of as a one-day deal. We used to do 3 days, and it was really difficult to get everybody to come in all 3 days with sports and band practice and church and all kinds of stuff going on. Right. So we moved to this one-day course. It's a 9 to 5. It's a working lunch, which a lot of kids are like, what does that mean? But we just kind of eat lunch as the instructors are talking, and everybody brings their own lunch, and so it works out really well to get it done and over with. So we're going to be offering 2 of those classes. You do have to sign up online, and it's through the Iowa DNR, Department of Natural Resources. And so sometimes people might have some problems signing up online, but there is an 800 number that you can call, and they can kind of walk you through it. Unfortunately, we at the Conservation Board just kind of run the program that day. They take care of all of the signing up and registration and all of that good stuff. So we do still have openings, just checked yesterday. So if anybody 16 and over that are not planning on hunting with, well, I guess if you're 16 or over, you need a hunting license. So
right. It's a youth license. Is it a youth license here? If you're younger?
If you're younger, they do have youth licenses for different, deer or whatever, things like that. And I don't know a whole lot about all of those regulations.
And it changes state to state. That's why I couldn't really tell you what Iowa does. I know Illinois are, there's youth seasons and youth. I think there's youth licenses. I can't even remember. I started hunting when I was right at that age, like 13. So I did for a couple of years take part in the youth seasons, but I do not remember what that looked like for the life of me. But
So in Iowa, anybody, I believe it was 1972, needs to have a hunting instruction class. Prior to that, then you wouldn't need it,
Gotcha.
Unless you went to another state. Some states still require it no matter what year you were born, basically. And that's different from state to state. But so we do sometimes have, other people that are maybe they are past that age limit, but they want to go to, say, a different state, Colorado, Wyoming, out west to go hunting for elk or what have you. Then they have to come in and take the hunter education class. So if they have specific questions, they can give us a call and we can let them know, what they need. Unless it's for another state, then you got to call, Wyoming or Colorado or whatever. But again, we do have openings for that.
Hey, hunter, and people shouldn't be worried about that because hunter education classes are actually a lot of fun. I really, when I took mine, I really enjoyed. I think I did a 3-day one. I think it was a total of, oh gosh, I don't want to say how many hours because I don't know for sure, but it was a couple nights and then it was one like almost full day on a Saturday. It was like a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday that we went. We had they walked us through all the steps. We sat in class and we read and we did all that, and then they also did let us do like walk arounds. We walked through courses with dummy guns so that we could learn how to interact with other people hunting alongside of us, and when to shoot, when not to shoot, stuff like that. I loved all that. That was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we need more hunter ed instructors. So if you're interested,
wow, that's actually kind of a cool deal. That might.
Yep.
I'll look into that with you. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah, I can get you in contact with the DNR officers. Cool. And hunting and fishing are one of those things that, for whatever reason, there hasn't been that much, like our generation. Mm-hmm. That's what we did, you know. But it seems like maybe some of the younger kids, I don't know what it is. Yeah, but we need to get the word out.
Absolutely, because hunting's an important part. I mean, it's not just about it's not just about going out, whether you hunt for whatever reasons. I primarily hunt for the meat. I want to have deer meat in the freezer all winter long, and a good part of the summer. But then also, it's also about the conservation too, because it's hard to keep the deer populations in check if there's nobody out hunting them, because
right.
they go wild. It gets out of control. Like right now, there's still an overpopulation problem in several parts of Illinois for sure, but I guess I'm not sure. Is it pretty much very similar right here on the Iowa-Illinois border?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I haven't talked to anybody with the DNR for a while about the populations of deer, but in itself, hunting is an effective wildlife management tool. And, we don't have a lot of the large predators like we used to. Nope. Pre-settlement times, we had mountain lions, we had gray wolves, we had those big predators, bears even.
I was going to say, there were bears in this area.
There were even bears in Iowa, they would help control the population. So that's actually a part of the class that I talk about, is how wildlife management is affected by hunting, which, it's a very effective tool to manage since we don't have those big game predators anymore. So, yeah, overpopulation can happen,
and some folks may not grasp that in the sense of why it's important, why it matters that if there's too many of them, because things like chronic wasting disease and other diseases like what is it, isn't it blue tongue?
Yep.
Yeah, blue tongue. When there's too many of them and they get crowded up in these whatever kind of space, whether it's around a watering hole or anything like that, they pass those diseases between each other.
Right.
And then we could see whole herds getting wiped out rather than losing one or two maybe that are off on their own. When they're all gathered, it's a big difference.
Right. And then also, if there are too many, there's not enough food. Mm-hmm. We think about Iowa having a lot of cornfields and bean fields and things like that, but wildlife sometimes takes a toll on some of those things, and if there's not enough food, then you're going to suffer starvation, and you're going to have animals dying. So hunting is very important for that whole process. So we've got those 2 classes coming up, and now is the time if you're in our area, because we won't actually have another class until March or so. So we do 3 classes a year at the Conservation Board. So. Okay. And the 9 to 5 thing has been working out really good for us. And so sign up online, call us if you have questions. But we've got lots of other really fun programs coming up too. So we do a program throughout the school year. It's called Pollywog Playtime and Knee-High Naturalists. Now, how fun are those? Just the sound of it.
Pollywog.
Pollywog. Do you know what a pollywog is?
I can't say I do.
It's a tadpole.
It's a tadpole.
It's another word for a tadpole.
Okay.
Yeah, so our Pollywog classes are actually run by Julie Harold. She's been volunteering with us for, I think it's been 10 years now. Oh. She's been doing these classes for us. And it's 18 months to 3 years. So these are the littlest of the littles.
Oh, wow. Oh, you mean that's their age?
That's
Holy
their
cow,
age.
Yeah, wow.
Yes, and so that's why we call those the Pollywog's,
Gotcha.
The Pollywog class, because they're little ones. But they come with their adults, whether it's mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, older brother, sister, uncle, aunt, niece, whatever it happens to be. And Julie does a series of different topics with them every month. They're on Thursdays. a second Thursday of the month normally from 9 to 10. And so you could do a craft, a story, an activity, learning about whatever type of, whether it's an animal, a turtle, winter animals or whatever it happens to be. And those are $5 a class. And we do require pre-registration because we have a limited number of slots for that time period. And then our knee-high naturalists, those are the little ones. They're 4 to 6 year olds with their favorite adult. And those are on Saturdays.
Very similar class structure, just kind of learning crafts and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. Same structure, stories, a little bit more. With this older group, we can do a little bit more, maybe go outside, go on a hike, look for different animal tracks or tadpoles or butterflies or whatever it happens to be. So, but those are usually the second Saturday of the month, and the same $5 for an hour class. And they're really pretty fun. Get your little ones exposed a little bit to some of that naturey stuff that maybe parents aren't comfortable with. Sometimes this summer, I've had people say, Michelle, I'm so glad that you guys do these classes because I'm not necessarily comfortable, taking my kids out on a canoe or going fishing or, going creek stomping. It's not my thing, but I still want them to have the experience. So I'm so glad you have these classes. So we are going to continue our summer nature camps.
Awesome.
All year, but just for the little kids. And the reason that we focus on the little kids and not the older kids is because the older kids are in a lot more activities.
Yeah, they're busy.
Busy. So we focus kind of our older nature kid camps through 8th grade, actually, through the summer. So.
Through the summer when they've got a little bit of extra time. But then during the school year, you guys keep up with the younger ones that might have a little bit more time then.
Yep, exactly.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yep, and I don't know how we're doing on time. I feel like...
Oh, we got a couple minutes.
We got a couple minutes. Monarch butterflies. Can we talk about butterflies for a couple minutes?
I got to say first, I loved going out. We would always go and search all the ditches along our roads for milkweed.
Yes.
To find those little caterpillars so that we can put them in. What are they called in their caterpillar form? Is it just as simple as that? Just they're a caterpillar?
Yeah, larva.
A larva.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. But I remember going out and finding those and then putting them in the big I don't want to say aquarium. The terrarium, is that the right word for it? You put them in a terrarium with a bunch of sticks and whatnot, and they eventually will cocoon and then turn into a butterfly, right?
Well, it's a chrysalis, but yes.
Chrysalis.
Cocoons are moths.
Oh,
yes.
I did not know the difference.
Yes. So moths and butterflies have the same life cycle. They go through 4 stages. Starts with an egg, and then it's the larva, which is a caterpillar, and then it's the pupa. So with a butterfly, it's called a chrysalis. And the moth is called a cocoon.
Gotcha.
I know all these science terms,
I did not know that there was a difference between the two.
Well, it's the pupa form, so you could just call it a pupa, but then people will look at you like, huh? What's that? And then the adult. So right now we actually have some cocoons of some different types of moths. So every year we raise monarch butterflies. As long as I've been there, and it's 10.5 years now, we've been raising monarch butterflies just so we have, it's another way for people to see the life cycle. They might not be able to see it. It's in our nature center in a box. And but this year I got the opportunity to raise some moths. And let me tell you, they're very different. I raised some of the silk moths, and they're giant like this when they come out. And right now they're in the cocoon stage. And at this point, being August 15th, I'm thinking they're probably going to have to go into my garage for the winter because some of them do overwinter in the cocoon stage.
Really?
Yep. And I would have thought they would have came out by now if they were going to, have another generation.
Right, because that's I was going to say, because if they go into if they hatch too close to winter, they don't have time to lay eggs and start for the next one.
Exactly. Yep.
It's interesting. So they will winter in their cocoon.
Yes.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Definitely an experiment for me. It's fun too. But we also have lots of monarch caterpillars, and we've been going out and collecting the eggs off of the milkweed plants in our yards and other people's yards that, they have these. Actually, I have people bringing me stuff, which is awesome because 90% of monarch eggs don't make it to adulthood.
Really? Wow.
So mom lays 300 or 400 eggs, and then she dies. And those eggs, so if you think about 90% of, 300 or 400, that's not very many. So we try to bring them in and give them a better chance, I guess, if you want to call it that. They don't have to worry about, if we find them in the egg stage, they don't have to worry about being infected with a parasite like the tachnid fly or bacteria, or there's different viruses that they can get that make them sick. And it really, raising them inside from egg, you get like a 90%
Success rate
Wow. Compared to outside where 90% die. So,
wow.
And it's so fun to watch them.
It is. It really
all
is.
the time. Every single year. It doesn't matter. It's still so awesome to see it.
And when they do finally break out of their chrysalis.
Yes.
Right. When they do finally break out, it's really fun to watch them go through that process of opening up their wings for the first time and getting them all like stretched out and dried off. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have to come over and see. We have a bio tent outside.
Really?
So we've expanded our practices, if you want to call it that. But the Muscatine Pollinator Project, have you heard of them?
I think so.
We need to have them come in and do a radio show with you guys.
That'd be great.
Yeah, but it's a group of different people that are interested in pollinators, and they actually purchased this tent for us. So we have it set up outside. You can look in. It's about 6.5 feet by 6 feet. So, it's a nice size. We've got milkweed growing on the bottom, and it's protected. So, it completely zips up, and it's a very small screen, so bugs can't get in, and of course our caterpillars and monarchs can't get out until we let them out. So when those eggs that I found get a little bit bigger, we'll put them in there. Right now we have, I think, 5 chrysalises that are in there on the top, and then there's probably another 25 caterpillars crawling around in there, but hopefully we're going to be able to raise a lot of them out of there. So
that's
then,
awesome.
Yeah, the purpose is then when they come out, of their chrysalis, dry their wings, then we can let them go, and then they can go on to make the next generation.
That's great.
But this big push that we have right now are all butterflies that are going to go to Mexico.
Really?
Yep, this is our last generation, and so these are all the migrating butterflies, the monarchs that go about 2,000 miles from Muscatine.
Wow.
Takes them about 2 months. So that whole process is amazing. We put little tags on them to identify them when they get to Mexico if somebody finds them. And I'll be doing a program on that on September 15th at 1:30 at the Nature Center. And you can come learn about the tagging process, the life cycle, and then we actually, whatever butterflies we have, we tag. We put these little stickers on them. And then people go out with nets and tags and try to catch wild monarchs too. So it's a really fun program.
That does sound like a lot of fun. That's really cool to see because you can pull them in and see what kind of tags they have on them, where they've come from, and stuff like that. Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's really cool. Well, that sounds like it'll be a really interesting program. That's the Monarch program, right? That's what it's called, Monarch program. Excellent. Well, that meant much more going on out there with the Muscatine County Conservation Board. So that's really cool. Appreciate you coming in and sharing with us today, Michelle. Is that you think you've got out what we need to talk about?
Oh, we can always talk forever about stuff. Conservation,
could.
you and I.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Michelle. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
As always, this is brought to you in part by Comprehensive Rehab. Comprehensive Rehab, offering occupational care after an injury or illness for you or your family member. Moving forward, is brought to you by Muscatine Power and Water. MockLink is always Muscatine's fastest internet, and gigabit speed is coming. MockLink TV beats satellite and includes video and music streaming. New subscribers save big, even more when you bundle. Learn more at mpw.org. I'm Jordan Davis. This has been Moving Forward here on the voice of Muscatine.com.